Let's bring in constitutional attorney and former JAG officer and the author of a new book, Kangaroo Court, my friend Don Brown. Don, thank you so much for joining the show.
Tara, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and to the RAV family. It's going to be a great year.
Yes, it is. So what is your reaction to these cases? I mean, were you surprised to see this?
No, when you get a chance to read Kangaroo Court, you'll see that I address this, and even then, this book was released just about a month before the election. No, a week before the election, and these cases were dead on arrival after the Supreme Court's three Supreme Court decisions this past summer. But the decision of Trump v. United States was the most significant. That's the case under which SCOTUS took the civil immunity already available to a president and just, by analogy, recognized criminal immunity in these cases as well. The Fitzgerald v. Nixon case given civil immunity. Now we have criminal immunity. But it wasn't just that decision, but it was the concurring opinion by Justice Thomas that started all this. Justice Thomas said, I agree with my colleagues, there's criminal immunity against criminal charges for a president while in office. But also, Jack Smith, I noticed that you were appointed without any special legislation. This appears to be a violation of the Appointments Clause of the Constitution. And from there, Judge Cannon there in South Florida then dismissed the documents case, which is a sham case to begin with, because President Trump had a right to those documents under the Presidential Records Act. But she dismissed it in violation of the Constitution. The Appointments Clause required legislation to be passed for inferior officers. There was legislation for independent counsel, the Independent Counsel Act. That expired, Tara, in June of 2019, had never been renewed. So Jack Smith he's trying to pull the plug now because he doesn't want the 11th Circuit to come in and to affirm Judge Cannon, because if the 11th Circuit does that, the Justice Department has a big problem. It's not just Jack Smith that was illegally appointed. It was also Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller was appointed unconstitutionally in violation of the Appointments Clause, and therefore every sham prosecution that he brought, he couldn't find anything to stick any of these guys with regarding to Russia, so he just made stuff up. He went 10 years earlier to try to find a tax charge against Manafort. He claimed General Flynn, had lied to the FBI, even though the agents who interviewed him said he did not lie. All those cases should be wiped away. They're trying to avoid, by pulling the plug now, they're trying to avoid an adverse decision from the 11th Circuit's Court of Appeals, which is the court above Judge Cannon, which would be politically embarrassing and might actually cause the Mueller prosecutions to get wiped out too. And the Mueller prosecution should be wiped out, Tara. That's where we are tonight. And the rest of these cases are going to get wiped out too, but this is a step in the right direction already.
Yeah, a lot of people want accountability. They want justice for all of this, the lawfare, unconstitutional lawfare. It's treasonous lawfare. Do you think there will be accountability for these rogue prosecutors?
First off, treasonous is the correct word. We hear this pie in the sky puffery rhetoric from these Democrats. No one's above the law, and they come up with this BS when they indict the president. Actually, it is the prosecutors who are not above the law. Yeah. These prosecutors are, in fact, the criminals here, because every one of these frivolous cases, from Florida to D.C. to two in New York, are an all-out assault against the United States Constitution. Yep. And that goes for Fani Willis, too. These prosecutors must be held to account. I think they should be investigated, at the very least, for a violation of rights under the federal code, for the conspiracy to violate rights, I should say, under the federal code. And if you can show conspiracy, then go against them now. But we need more teeth in the law. And I've been calling for some time, ever since I ran for Congress last year, for rogue prosecutor laws, whereby these prosecutors like Jack Smith are going to have to look over their shoulder, and if it's determined they brought a case primarily for political purposes, if they bring a political prosecution that's an assault on our Constitution, they should face felony charges themselves, Tara.